Yo, what's up, everybody? How's it going? I'm back. I was away for 3 days, so apologies for uploading 0 videos in the last 3 days. But here we are. I got back from hot yoga. I'm feeling flexible. I'm feeling not energetic, but I'm feeling like I just sweated out every little bit of liquid that was inside me. So, that being said, what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about the beef. I want to talk about the beef that has been going on, the rap holy war that was happening over the last week or so. And it seems like it's over. Daylight kind of dropped a The End track. I didn't really react to it, to be honest. But he dropped basically a track saying it's over. I don't want to do anything with the beef. I don't know if Daylight speaks for Rayvon or any of the other members that have been dissing, but Daylight's apparently done. Doesn't seem like Rayvon is dropping another track, and I don't think anyone from TDE is really dropping a track either. It sounds like YG actually said something, for at least in a bar. So we'll see if Joey makes a full diss track to YG. I don't know if he's gonna go that route. But that being said, it's done for the most part. We have had some diss tracks come out after the fact, and I'm actually really upset that Nick Cautions came out after it was kind of over, because Nick Caution's diss I thought was actually really good, and I think it would have warranted a response from Ray, because he was saying some pretty scathing things on his diss track. I know I saw some of the comments in there saying it was mid, but I thought he was throwing hooks. The age, scrubbing Wikipedia to make you more marketable, talking about basically just doubling down on the Kendrick clone, saying that they needed to replace Kendrick. You're basically just like a clone, you're just a Severance clone or Severance chip, right? Talking about being Dochi's little brother, how Dochi's taking all of the budget, how this beef is part of a rollout for you, and it's like that's the only thing they can provide for you, otherwise you got no motion. Like, he was saying some pretty crazy bars on there that I think were hitting. Those are really hitting. Obviously the don't know Kendrick thing doesn't land because he shook his hand at the pop out, whatever. That bar missed, but these other ones were hard, and if I'm Rayvon, I would have probably wanted to respond. He also discredited the Diddy angle completely. He was like, yo, Soul is in a picture with Diddy or was hanging out with Diddy, so is he also doing freak offs? I thought that his diss was actually really good, and I think could have warranted a response from Rayvon. And I have no idea why my video is lagging right now, to be honest. Like, I'm just gonna close out of Google Chrome because I really don't need Google Chrome open at all. But that being said, so who won the beef, right? Who won the beef? And let me just fix this really quick. What the fuck? I'm just gonna make myself full screen. Who won the beef? What's the dealio? And so I think it's pretty obvious Joey did. I think it's pretty obvious Joey won, because not my town. The one he dropped after, I don't even remember what was it called. Joey Badass. Crash Dummy was a fire diss. He addressed everything that Rayvon and Daylight both addressed, and he basically was just like, your angle's very predictable. Your angle's dumb. Top was also at these parties, just calling him a scrub the entire time. And I need to re-listen to it because I just like am blanking. I'm honestly blanking on some of the bars because I haven't listened to it in a minute. But I feel like the angles that he took in that one. Wait, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. The big spot him, got him line. Don't you have a daughter, Daylight? I just think he came back. He did it on a West Coast beat with a West Coast flow, battling two of them, 1v20 in the whole West Coast. I think it's clear that Joey won. He came in with a ton of energy on this last track, and like, I think that was Rayvon's last shot for him. I honestly see the battle as not so much Daylight, because I'm not gonna lie, Daylight's bars didn't hit for me that hard. Like, I know he was hitting with like 3 punchlines, double entendre, getting really lyrical with some of these disses, but they don't land, and I don't feel like he's saying much. You know what I mean? And I found the last one where he's talking about trying to go on this whole Hobson corny route. It was just uncomfortable. I was just like, this is not a good diss track. Whereas Rayvon, I think his diss track was actually pretty good. It was pretty scathing. He was taking the Diddy angle, talking about Bukakis. I think all of that was funny, and it was catchy, and the song was good. So it had a lot of potential. I just think Joey came back with a better track. He came back, the lines he was saying was definitely just hitting harder, and I think his punchlines were better. I just think he ultimately won the beef completely. I don't know what Rayvon could have came back with to really one up again, because I feel like that was Rayvon's final shot. And this brings me to my second subject. I want to get a little bit conspiratorial here. And I don't even think it's a conspiracy, but I feel like, especially with TDE, after seeing, and they didn't even have Kendrick when he got into the beef, but they're very close with Kendrick, obviously. I think seeing the success of this rap beef with Drake, and seeing how it's taken Kendrick from being a top tier rapper, still one of the best rappers of all time, to an absolute superstar by being able to essentially make a diss track about one of the biggest rappers of all time that was critically successful. I think that got Lightbulb in Top's brain, because he's probably sitting there. We have this artist Rayvon who signed to TDE. What do we do with him? How do we market him to get him on the forefront, to get people talking about him? He's a lyrical rapper. He genuinely makes good music. We need something to get people talking about him, because he just dropped an album. I think Joey obviously made the one track dissing the West Coast, right? Saying all of your dick eaters. I don't know if Top and Joey planned on that, but Joey came out just like talking about the West Coast. I think Joey in his head's like, I'm going to make some noise. I'm about to drop an album in August. I want to get people talking about me. But Top probably sees this and is like, he's dissing the West Coast. Great opportunity. Ray, let's get you in the ring with Joey Badass, who's not a megalodon, not a massive superstar that's gonna not respond to you. Joey Badass is a lyrical rapper, been around for a while, has some success, right? But has been acting, has been on a hiatus for a bit. and Joey Badass is instigating. Top's probably thinking this is a good opportunity to send in somebody from Top Dog Entertainment. My label has enough clout for this. My label has enough clout where it may warrant a response from Joey, and we can dangle a carrot of, oh, Kendrick, we know Kendrick, right, to get him to respond. So Top's out here, genius plan. We're gonna send Ray Vaughn after him. It's gonna get a response. People are gonna talk about Ray Vaughn. So Ray Vaughn drops his song. It works. Joey gets a response back. Now it gives Ray Vaughn an opportunity to come back and basically end Joey in a diss track. And what's interesting is I feel like I noticed a pattern, and maybe I'm the only one who's noticing this. Maybe it's not a pattern at all, and I'm just speculating. But I think what happened is Top saw what Kendrick did with Not Us, right? And he wanted to replicate that same formula. Obviously, it just wasn't executed as well. I think with Not Us, part of the reason why it worked so well, Drake is an absolute superstar, right? Drake is huge. And Drake has smoked. It's not like Drake hasn't done weirdo behavior. Drake has done some slightly weirdo behavior, right? He's straight up, he has the Millie Bobby Brown stuff. He's kissed that 17-year-old on stage. It was weirdo behavior. Not that being said, do I think Drake is actually a PEDO? No. Do I think Drake is actively doing any of that stuff? No, I don't. And I think, and if he was, there probably would have been some level of allegations for that would have came out saying he did something, or you know what I mean? There would have been a lot more smoke, has been with Diddy, there was with Jeffrey Epstein, there was with Weinstein. There just hasn't been really anything around that with Drake. So it's not like he actually did that, but there was enough there where it was like, oh, we want to grip on Drake. We pause. But there's enough there to where the things that Kendrick is saying, I could believe it. On top of that, I think what wasn't working for Drake was that he already had like, a lot of people hating him and starting to hate Drake before this even diss was happening. I think it started happening probably after Views, around Scorpion time. I think people were already starting to get a little sick of Drake and annoyed that he was rapping about the same things at the age of 35, right? Like, people were already starting to get kind of annoyed with him and didn't really like his music or like him and wanted him to lose. So I think you already had that sentiment as well. And so people were just excited when they heard Kendrick's track. And so I think honestly Not Guys worked really well because Drake already had some smoke, and on top of that you had people that already disliked Drake enough to where it was like, we can Not Like Us is believable, right? And you have Kendrick out here calling him a PEDO. Is it true? I don't know, but is the song good? Is there smoke there? Screw it, right? It works. Like, people are catching on, and really with rap beefs, it's all about public perception. I think Top saw that with Kendrick and is like, oh, you know what we can do? We can do the same thing with Joey Badass. And if we are able to end Joey Badass, Ray Vaughn shoots up the rankings as like a rapper, right? He shoots up. People are gonna be like, oh my God, did you hear what Ray Vaughn said? He destroyed Joey. Like, the West Coast is on a tear. West Coast is king. If he wins that with that strategy, right? He's gonna basically, like Ray Vaughn, a lot of people will be talking about him, and specifically the artists, the fan base that he wants, lyrical people that respect lyrical rap. That's the type of rap that Ray Vaughn does. So he's like, if we can get him in front of Joey's audience, and he can beat Joey in a rap battle, that's going to be a big victory for him. So they did the same strategy of just going super hard at this Diddy angle, being like, you were at Diddy parties, we can buy the footage, we know you were doing bukakis, really just, and making it funny too. I think that's what was really effective about Nas. Some of the bars were just funny. It was just funny bars about Drake being a PEDO. And I think with Ray Vaughn, he was going for the same angle. He's like, yo, you were at Diddy parties, you're doing Diddy stuff, you're getting your back blown out by Diddy, right? Same thing, funny, doubling down on something that isn't probably true, but there's photos of Joey and Diddy together online, so it's like maybe there's enough smoke there that people will grab it and sink into it and be like, oh, maybe Joey was at them Diddy parties, right? And so I think they were trying to copy that same strategy, and it didn't land this time. And I think that it didn't land for a couple reasons, but it was a formula. You can tell there was a formula there to try to get people to basically have people look at Joey Badass differently and ruin his image. But I think it just it backfired because for a couple reasons. Number one, Joey's brand is pretty squeaky clean. Like, Joey, there's never been really any rumors about Joey being at freak offs or being at these things. There hasn't been any rumors about Joey hanging out with Diddy at night. You know what I mean? He just hasn't been ever really a part of the conversation. So when you're thinking about Joey Badass, it's not like, oh, I heard he was doing stuff with Diddy. Nobody was thinking that in general. So with Drake, there were already conversations around, why are you texting Millie Bobby Brown about boys, right? That was already a conversation that was happening for years. Joey didn't have any of those conversations. So when you're coming with this Diddy angle, it's basically just like a brand new angle that you're coming with right now, where there's no smoke whatsoever or not enough smoke. And they were hoping people would look and see pictures with Joey and Diddy and being like, oh shoot, maybe he was at the freak offs, but I just don't think it landed. And then on top of that, I think it was just easily discredited. It's just such an angle that's easily discredited because a lot of people were hanging out with Diddy. Let's be real. He was a music exec, a music mogul who's signing artists, who has a lot of power in the music industry. You don't think there's going to be pictures of your favorite artist or a label exec with Diddy, even from the West Coast? You think that the only people that were hanging out with Diddy were also engaging in freak offs? No, Diddy was also a businessman. He was doing business with a lot of people. Just to do business with Diddy or go to a Diddy party doesn't necessarily implicate you in being in a freak off, right? So I think the rebuttal, Top was there, Absol was also hanging out with Diddy, right? These things debunk completely the whole diss track that Rayvon's coming with, you were hanging out with Diddy doing freak offs because it's like your people then were too, because they were associated. And I think that's why it didn't quite land, is because there were just too many holes in it and there wasn't enough smoke. And it kind of came off like you didn't have enough ammo to really shoot at him for anything. So you just started with, you're just going the propaganda route. And I think they did the same thing with Drake. Let me be real. They did the same thing. It just landed with Drake because he had a lot of smoke there. And then Top was like, let's try the same formula. And it didn't work. So I noticed that trend where it was the same strategy and it just didn't work as well with Rayvon, unfortunately. That being said, I think this beef was a great rollout plan for Rayvon, especially if the budget did end up going to Doechii and there isn't really a marketing budget for Rayvon, because he got a Genius plug. I think I saw him doing a couple interviews recently. He did an On the Radar freestyle. And then on top of that, a lot of people in the comments are like, oh, I'm gonna go check out his other songs because he performed well enough where people are like, he's clearly got a pen. He clearly can make music. I'm gonna go listen to some of his other stuff. And now you have more people reacting to his album, more people actually going back and listening. I even went and listened to his album, right? So I think it worked for him because it did get him some publicity where people didn't really know who he was before. That being said, is it going to allow him to have longevity? Is it going to push him to the next level? I think if he won and bodied Joey Badass, I think it might have, but I don't think he won. That's the issue. And because he lost, I think he's going to have his moment right now for a little bit, but that's going to die out. So we're going to have to see how else they end up marketing Rayvon to try to get him popping. And hopefully they can do it because I think he's a talented artist. But yeah, that was my 2 cents on the beef. I think Top tried to use this opportunity to basically market his artist and the label. I'm not just going to say Top, but the whole label used it as an opportunity to market their artist. I think it kind of worked, but also I think it'll backfire a little bit because he didn't win. But they still got more streams, more people are checking out his album. I think that's a win at the end of the day. And then this is a big win for Joey too. I think it shows Joey can still rap. It shows that Joey can do multiple flows. He did a West Coast flow, and Joey's dropping an album in August. So he was able to say, I'm dropping an album in August. I think people are excited to hear about it. And we don't know if this is over yet, right? There's still people that might come out of the woodwork and try to respond. If YG is already dropping sentences about Joey, people are going to still be taking shots. And if you're still taking shots, it's clear that Joey's not going to sit there and just take the shot from anybody. He's responding to Daylight. He's responding to people that are below him, that he, not below him as a person, but below him in the rap game. He doesn't need to respond to some of these people. So I don't think he's ducking smoke from anyone. And so if he gets bigger people taking shots at him, it can move up the chain. And Kendrick's on tour. So we'll see if Kendrick says something about it. I don't think Kendrick will respond to him directly with a song. If he does, I'll be surprised and that would be cool. But I don't think Kendrick's going to respond directly with a song. I think Kendrick's going to diss in some lines on another song if he drops again this year. We don't even know if he's dropping again this year. He might disappear for another 3 years and then come back with an album. He doesn't necessarily have to drop anything, right? He's good. So we'll see. But anyways, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it because I know it was a hectic week or 2 weeks. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.